Good morning, and everybody. Welcome to the beautiful Hatton Center here in Southeast Baltimore. I am joined this morning by Congressman Ruppersberger, my congressman, and Congressman Sarbanes, also by Delegate Brooke Learman, and our fabulous Health Commissioner, Dr. Jaraza. I want to thank Congressman Ruppersberger, Congressman Sarbanes, and our entire federal delegation for securing funds to enable the city's fiber optic network to reach all the Baltimore senior centers. Also want to thank the delegate again for being here. And I also want to acknowledge the Baltimore City Department and Health Department and our Broadband Digital Equity Office for spearheading this initiative for our older adults. We mentioned Dr. Jaraza, but also Director Jason Harderbeck. The pandemic taught us many lessons, but one of the most important is that we need to stay connected to the internet to stay healthy. Digital inclusion is a key social determinant of residents' health and well-being. As our population ages, many of our older residents find themselves socially isolated, and the pandemic further exacerbated this issue. The inability of so many of our older adults to reliably access the internet severely limits their quality of life. Access and digital equity are essential to our work to building healthy communities across Baltimore and ensure that we, as a community, can better meet the needs of our older adults. I want to again thank Congressman Ruppersberger and Sarbanes for joining me in recognizing this immense need and for securing federal dollars for improving digital equity and access for older adults right here in Baltimore. This will enable our city's older adults to take full advantage of online services and the digital economy, from telehealth and education to entertainment and even social media. From virtual doctor visits to prescription refills to vaccine registration, more and more services are being pushed online, leaving many of our most vulnerable residents behind. This program is designed to connect older adults to the resources and services they need to thrive and ensure that our senior centers are fully equipped to support the growing tech needs of our older residents. The funding will also allow us to launch 3 telehealth pilot sites in the areas of most need. We will bring health services to people where they live and where they feel at home, like their neighborhood senior center. Now, let me paint a picture really for you all for a second to stress the need for this work. Nearly 43,000 households in Baltimore City have no internet connection, and roughly 29,000 households don't have a computer. Just 62% of adults over 65 have a computer and broadband internet subscription. 12% have a laptop but no internet subscription, and 24% of our older adults have no computer. Internet access is not only a critical public infrastructure, but also an equity issue, and Baltimore intends to permanently close the digital divide by the end of this decade. By bringing the fiber optic network to our senior centers, we plan to create connectivity hubs for our older adults and provide them with the tools and training required to successfully navigate virtual healthcare spaces and communicate with providers and advocates, helping us not to just tackle the digital divide, but address healthcare disparities faced by older adults in our communities. And all of this is made possible through the strong partnership with our federal partners, the best federal delegation in the country, who continues to bring home the dollars and resources for Baltimore City every time we send them to D.C. I cannot think of a better way to honor Older Americans Month by celebrating this investment with our federal partners. And I want to turn it over now to my congressman, at least till the end of the year, Mr. Congressman, Dutch Ruppersberger. Congressman?
Well, good morning, everybody. You know, I remember in the old days when I was county executive, and that was a long time ago, that we had senior centers. And the senior centers, when we were in Baltimore County, we called it the baby boomer senior centers, and then we moved up and we called it the Senior Expo. Well, today, we're calling senior centers the Power of Age Expo. And what we have done, and I'm a senior too, by the way, so I'm one of you. Even though 60 is the new 40, remember that. So what we did, we are teaching our seniors on how to be in the computer age, how to use computer, how to use it to have fun, how to use it to buy groceries, to communicate with grandkids. And it's just so important. But it's not just showing up, it's training, it's putting people together who understand you, and you all want to learn. And the good news is that John Sarbanes and I were very good friends, and in Maryland, the majority of us work together as a team, just like Delegate Learman and her team in Annapolis, and that's how we do get things done. So what do? We had earmarks. Anybody know what an earmark is? Well, earmarks were something that we had, and we were able to get it for our community. It was really what Congress could get, not the administration putting in the money, but Congress to get money for their community. And for some reason, we knocked them out, which a lot of us felt that's wrong. It's how we look after our own constituents. Well, they came back. Now, we don't get as many. We get to choose about 10, and we come together a lot. And John and I decided, when the mayor decided that he was going to make the senior centers, 13 of them, a priority. And that was teamwork coming together. And we're we're here today to really acknowledge this teamwork of the money that we have been able to get, an earmark. And that earmark will go to the senior centers. They're 13. I think they're 6 in Baltimore owned by the city, and 7 nonprofit. And you're going to see a lot of work, training, and we're very happy about it. So I'm going to stop right now, and I'm so excited about what I see here today. I grew up in the city. The first person I ran into today, guess who he was? Somebody went to Poly. Now guess where I went to high school? Poly? Are you kidding me? City, that's where I went. And my coach was George Young, who became general manager of the Giants. It was a great time. I love the city. My generation, my family's go to the 1800s in Baltimore City. And I'm just so glad that I've been able to represent some of the city, not all of it. And we're really proud of you all. So I'm going to turn it over to John. John's done a great job in Washington. Again, we work as a team, and that's how we get things done. Take care.
Morning, everybody.
Can I say one thing?
Yes, you can
One
say
thing.
2 things.
Two
Go.
things. My mother just turned 100 a month ago,
All right.
and she's still kicking. And there's another over there, 102.
Yes, indeed. Well, it's good to be with you all today. Thank you, Dutch. And Dutch and I and other members of the Maryland delegation, the federal delegation, have definitely been working hard over these past months to make sure that key needs of our constituents are being met and that we can bring some real resources home. And that includes here in Baltimore City. I want to thank the mayor, because that's how all this starts. It's your mayor that identifies the needs in the city, comes the delegation, makes the case, in this instance, a very powerful case for why the resources can make a huge difference. I want to salute your leader here, the director, Adrienne Bloomberg, for her good work. I've known her for a while because I knew her when she was working up at Meyerberg. Now she's here at Hatton, bringing tremendous... there you go. You just got an endorsement, Adrienne. So we know how important these centers are for our seniors. And I want to, again, thank the mayor for his leadership. I want to thank Commissioner Zaraza for her leadership, obviously, in the pandemic, and as we come out of it, making sure we take the right cues from those who have the health experience and expertise is absolutely critical. So I want to thank her for that. And of course, we're joined, as has been mentioned, by Delegate Brooke Learman, who fights every day. We're in her district here in Baltimore City. She fights every day in Annapolis to make a difference on so many issues, but certainly when it comes to supporting our seniors. This $2.3 million or so that we've been able to secure for senior centers and this digital access, I like the mayor's phrase, digital inclusion, including everybody. And by the way, today, President Biden announced that 20 internet service providers nationally will be making internet service available to up to 40 million Americans at $30 a month, because we know we have to broaden that kind of access across the country. We also know that telehealth services make a huge difference. During the pandemic, we needed to seize on that opportunity to deliver health care remotely to many, many people in our country, including seniors. And what we saw is that seniors got more comfortable with this. And they're ready now to use those services if we can provide them going forward, which is what this resource, these dollars coming in, is all about. It's going to help senior centers connect to the people that use those centers by putting those resources in people's homes, but it can also create clinical resources here in the centers so that those telehealth services can come in and improve the health and well-being of our seniors. This is something we're seeing all across the country. Seniors stepping into the digital space, connecting to all kinds of services, but definitely connecting digitally to healthcare resources. And that can make a big difference in your lives. We know that. That's why we fought so hard for these dollars. So again, I want to thank the mayor for his leadership, his entire team, identifying the need for these resources, working so closely with the federal delegation. And Dutch Ruppersberger and I were very, very pleased to be able to bring these resources to the city to help our seniors connect digitally to these very, very vital health services. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Let's give the congressman another round of applause. This is a $2 million investment into our older adults in Baltimore. And with that, we will take questions. Anybody? Senior? Speaking of seniors.
Mr. Mayor, kind of off topic, it seems to me there's an uptick in the country as it pertains to the virus itself, and I think we're reaching a milestone. I think it's 1 million, something to that. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, we know that we are still dealing with this pandemic. I think it's important. You hear me say this often. You hear Dr. Gerard say this. This is not over, right? And we are still losing. We have lost over 300 people in Baltimore to COVID this year. So this is far from over. We have to continue to follow the advice of our public health experts, as you know I will do each and every day, but also in our personal lives, making sure that while we all are so excited to get back to being with people in person, to remember that we can't go back to things just simply the way that we used to do. We have to keep this virus in mind because it is still taking too many people away from us.
Mayor, may I also ask Dr. D
Yep.
some questions? One of the reporters sent 3 questions, and I'd like to be able to ask if it's all right. What trends are you seeing in Baltimore, the Baltimore region, with regards to COVID-19 rates?
Yeah, so as you noted, we're certainly seeing an uptick like the remainder of the country. Our positivity is still slightly below that of the state, but we are seeing new cases. They're predominantly among individuals under the age of 39. So unfortunately, we're seeing a trend of more younger people getting COVID, which I think stresses the importance of vaccination for everyone, right? So it's certainly our older adults making sure they're protected and are boosted appropriately, but it's just as critical that our younger adults and that our children who are eligible get vaccinated too.
Is that a natural progression or an uptick of sorts?
So I would say that we've generally seen the virus skew a little bit younger, certainly since the since the vaccine has become more available. But in the past few weeks, it's been very pronounced again in our under 39, so 20 to 29, followed by our 30 to 39, and then our 10 to 19-year-olds.
Last question. How should people conduct themselves as a result, or as they resume gatherings, and while keeping the virulence of the virus in mind?
Yeah, so again, I want to stress the importance of vaccination and getting boosted. So that is certainly the first line of defense that we all have and that everyone over the age of 5 has access to. We have many vaccination sites across the city focused on areas with lowest vaccination coverage. Certainly if you're going indoors, especially if you're a person who's high risk, meaning you have asthma or lung disease or heart disease or diabetes, then you can consider masking again to offer that additional layer of protection. But vaccines still remain our first line of defense, getting vaccinated and getting boosted appropriately.
Thank you, Mayor.
And just to remind everyone that the vaccines are free, also known as free 99, so you do not have to pay for them. Yes, sir.
This kind of, I guess, ties in the whole digital infrastructure. As you know, at-home tests are becoming more and more prevalent. That is seemingly taking things a lot more remote, and a lot more remote means we're using a lot more technology. Seniors are the most vulnerable still to not just getting COVID, but unfortunately passing from COVID. All that information is seemingly going away from in-person almost exclusively to remote and digital. So is there, like, it seems like a lot of jurisdictions are sort of stepping back from COVID being the main issue, but it's still a very big issue, particularly for seniors, and they might feel like they're being left sort of in the dark as this progresses. Can you speak to how important that is?
Yeah, this is why for us that we haven't changed our approach. This is why we still have our ambassadors, our folks who are going out to our most vulnerable populations and neighborhoods, going door to door. This is why we haven't. This is why I gave the reason why we gave the health department $80 million of our ARPA funding, because while many folks at that time, I guess it was October, were celebrating that COVID was over, I said that it is not over. We are far away from this, and we have to continue this work, especially in a city with the challenges that we have with technology and other things like Baltimore, where our older adults and some folks just simply don't have that access. We have to go to them with the information, with the services, and we're going to continue to do that.
And this is for anybody, I'm from, yeah. I'm from Channel 45. We just lost traffic jam Jimmy Earn. I spoke to Mayor Scott outside, but if anybody has any words they want to say about Jimmy, any memories, anything at all, feel free.
I'll just say I'm Brooke Learman, and generally in the morning I'm trying to catch up, get ready for the day, and Jimmy was always sort of a comforting voice to start the day, and he was so of the people, and really truly you felt like he cared, that you knew what was going on and how traffic was, and he was invested in your day. And I think so thousands of Marylanders, certainly around this region, really loved waking up to his voice and loved listening and tuning in and hearing from him. So I think, when somebody like him passes, it's a chance for all of us to share memories and to remind ourselves that we are a community. And I think he would have appreciated that. So thank you.
Yeah, I'll just say these people become part of our lives without us realizing it. They kind of get woven into the fabric of our day, as Brooke said. And maybe sometimes you take that for granted, but you shouldn't. And it's when people are gone and you miss them that you realize how much you relied on them, even imperceptibly. So that's what we're dealing with here. And I guess it's an occasion for us to appreciate all those who are still with us, make sure we give them the proper respect and attention.
A lot of memories are so important from the time we were small until where we are now. And Jimmy was one of those individuals. I'm going to age myself, but I remember certain people on the radio. Remember Charlie Ekman? What a character. And that was part of what we were in Baltimore. And as we grow up, and Bear Cole, right? But there are other people in radio and TV, but and I'll give you another one, sports figure, Chuck Thompson. There you go. But what we're trying to do here today, we're coming together as a team. Now, the mayor puts a lot of pressure on me every time I see him because he's saying I represent him. So that makes I have to double what I do with the mayor. But we really have come together as a team. The feds get the money, and then the mayor decides where you're going to put the money. And if we come together as a team, federal, state, and local, we're not going to be able to beat us. Unfortunately, we've got a lot of people that might think differently than I do and vice versa. But when it comes to your family and your community and your home, we've got to do everything we can to come together as a team. And that's what we do with our delegation, maybe except one, but I'm not going to get into that. We really are happy to see what we have here at Senior Center. Seniors don't know a lot about maybe technology, but you can learn here. And the mayor and other jurisdictions have decided that we're going to bring the seniors to the digital age with equipment and also with training. And I'm very pleased that we can be here today to do this with our seniors.
Thank you, everybody.